Welcome back to Engaging with Engage. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to build an escape room experience using IFX snapshots and the editor. This is a two-part video, and before I pass over to David, let's run through using our IFX snapshots feature and gizmo. Here we are inside an Engage session on the desktop version of Engage. To begin, you simply open the menu by clicking here or pressing Escape on your keyboard. Next, search for the type of object you wish to place in the scene here. Remember, Engage has over 7,000 objects to choose from. However, you can upload your own objects via our web app if you wish. In this example, I'm going to choose a camel. Using your mouse, simply click and drag the object to the desired location. The circle you see on screen is our IFX selection area. This is the area you need to select if you want to interact with an IFX or object. They are invisible by default. However, if you left-click and hold on screen, the IFX circle will reappear. The smaller circle with the 3 white dots to the right of the IFX selection bubble is our gizmo selection tool. Let's click on it now and change some settings for this IFX. The gizmo is a tool designed for the finer placement of IFX within a scene. It controls movement along the XYZ axis, rotation controls, and the scale of objects. To move an IFX object, simply click and drag the arrow direction you wish the object to move in. To change the gizmo from Translate, where it moves an object along the XYZ axis, to Rotate, where it will change the rotation of the object, click on the Translate icon below. You will notice that the IFX movement arrows have disappeared and are now replaced with rotation circles. Click on the direction circle you wish to move and either click and drag to desired position or scroll with your mouse wheel for desired position. You can change the sensitivity of the movement by clicking on the sensitivity selector, which has preset values to allow fine control over every aspect of placing and sizing an IFX within your scene. Next, I'm going to place a second random object in this scene and group the objects together as an IFX snapshot. Once placed, I just open my menu on the IFX screen and select Snapshot. On the Snapshot screen, I click on the Record Snapshot button and give the snapshot a unique name. To reload your snapshot, go to the IFX page, visit Snapshots and load as needed. This is a great way to group objects or build immersive locations quickly. We are now ready to progress to building our own escape room with David, who will take over the rest of this tutorial. Good luck.
Hello. So, for our next project, we're going to build our own kind of challenge room or escape room. So we're going to start off in a normal session and we're going to work with snapshots. Snapshots are really nice because they make it very easy to group objects together, and then we can bring them into the editor after that. So first I'm going to search for creator room. Now the creator rooms, the idea is basically it's a blank slate. So I'm going to choose rocky sand. I'm going to build kind of a dungeony type room out here, and then I'm going to create a snapshot of it, and then I can bring that into the editor. Okay, so I'm going to use public IFX, so everything that I use here you'll be able to find yourself, and you can build your own version if you want to. So I'm going to start off, I'll put a list of all of the IFX that I've used up on screen in a moment, and you can pause it and have a look and search for yourself if you want to, but I'll just work away. Okay, so here's our first IFX. Now, I'm going to be placing a lot of them down and I want them to be accurate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the gizmo and I'm going to zero out the rotation. So I switch to rotation and then go reset. You can move it a bit and then reset. So now my arch, I know, is lined up with the world, and I can use that as the basis to line up the other parts of my room. So let's see. I also want to place it properly on the ground. So I can lift it up, and if you look down here, see this little arrow? That will snap it down to the ground. So I know my arch is nicely placed on the ground now. Now we have some arch. Now we want a couple of walls, so I'll go for stone wall. Let's see what we have. Great, that'll do. Okay, so again, I want to pop it down on the ground. So there's our wall. Nice. And okay, so let's have a look at what we have so far. So if I run into it, I can go through it. That's not much fun. Really, we want it to behave properly like a building. So let's select our object and turn the collider on. And we'll do the same for the wall. And it's important that you do this now, because every time you clone an object, it'll retain the attributes. So let's try running into the wall. Ouch, that stopped me. I wasn't able to run through. We'll try the arch. Bump, unblocked. Perfect. Because once people go into our escape room, we don't want them to escape. We want them to stay stuck inside there until they can use their wits to escape. So there we go. I've popped down one wall and another one. And let's just work like this. I'm going to clone this one again. There we go. Now don't worry, I know it might, well, kind of looks okay. We can make it look prettier later on, but first of all, let's just build the structure of the room. Okay, so there's the entrance. Needs a doorway, I think. So let's look for a door frame. There we go. Nice. That looks good. Fits in well. Alright, so I'm going to do the same for this one actually. I'm going to go into the gizmo and I'm going to make sure I zero out the rotations so that it lines up nicely. Lovely. And I will also move it up and pop it down. So I'm working on desktop. Equally, you could work in VR as well. All of the same options are available. And I'm going to get my sensitivity down low so I can do a fine tuning. Very nice. Good. Okay, that's nice. I like the look of that already. It's coming together. Okay, so now we need to put down some floor. Okay, so I'm going to look for a stone floor. There we go. Now this one also has a collider, and this IFX also has the teleport floor turned on, and this is important. So we'll turn the collider on and let's just test. There we go. We're able to teleport onto the floor, so that's perfect. That's what we want. Okay, I'll put down some more floor segments. Actually, do you know what? Since I've already placed one down and I've turned the collider on, instead of having to keep repeating that step, I can just clone the floor instead. And by cloning the floor, it means it'll retain the collider on attribute. And that can speed things up a little bit for you. Okay, that looks good. Like that. You don't need to be too picky. We're only roughly assembling it here. Okay, that's good. I can teleport on the floor. Oh, didn't mean to clap. Accidentally gave myself a round of applause. Well done. Okay, and so you can see the difference here now. I took this one from the menu, and let's have a look at its settings. You can see the collider's turned off because it's a brand new piece of floor. So I'm going to turn it on. But that's just to show you the difference between using one that already exists or cloning one that you had the settings done on. I'm going to open up the gizmo and I'm going to zero out the rotations again. Good. So now they're kind of lined up. Grab that. And I'll just roughly position them now. There we go. Now you can position the object by moving your mouse like that, but you also have WASD, so when you're holding something you can actually just move your whole body and it'll move with you. So that's another way of positioning. Sometimes that's handy if you don't want to go all the way into the gizmo. Like I'm in very fine tuning there, so if you didn't want to go into the gizmo you could always do it like that. Anyway, I'm being nitpicky here now. I think that's absolutely fine. Okay, great. Now we need some walls for our room. So let's you know what? Let's clone this one. So there we go. Now I do want the walls to line up proper 90 degrees here. So I'm going to go into the gizmo, and this time I'm going to reset the rotation, and then I'm going to use snapping. And the nice thing you can do with snapping is you can decide what increment it'll move in. So 45 degrees. So this should, there you go, it moved exactly 45 degrees and another 45 degrees, so that's exactly 90 degrees. Perfect. Because I just want my walls to be straight. It would be annoying if they were looking a little wonky, you know. And I'm going to snap that one to the ground as well, and then I'm going to choose that and I'm going to slide it. Perfect. Lovely. Okay, and I'm going to clone that. Hang on. Yep, my glide is turned on. Clone that, pop down the wall. And I'm just going to continue on like this, putting in elements to build up my room. Okay, our architectural masterpiece is now complete. So I'm going to stand here at the front entrance, and I'm going to make a snapshot. So all I have to do is go to my IFX menu, go snapshot, and click the record button. And I'm just going to include my IFX. I'm going to call this basic room. And then I'm going to go back to my IFX and clear away the scene. So now the scene is empty. And you can see now we can use this IFX as like a rubber stamp to load up. So I went to my list of snapshots. I go load, and I'm going to load this one in the original location. So you can see there straight away I have my room. And but that's not all. I can keep doing this. So I want to build a whole series of rooms. So I'm going to load the snapshot again, but this time I'm going to turn off the original location, and it comes in as an IFX like that. So I can just position it wherever I want. There we go. Up a little. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to run to the end, and you can see now how quickly, once you've built kind of the elements for something, you can very rapidly stamp them out. So let's pop that down there. Excellent. Keep going, and I'll do 4 rooms. Yeah. Okay. So the rest of the elements we're going to do inside the editor. We're going to place them down inside the editor, so we don't need to do anymore. I'm just actually playing around here, but you can see very quickly we've managed to build quite a cool location from IFX that are available in the public menu there. So let's move on anyway. That's been saved into our snapshots folder, and we'll be able to access that inside the editor. So let's go on over to the editor to do the next part of the building.
That's the end of part 1, where we have learned how to build a location using IFX objects and snapshots. For part 2 of our escape room tutorial, please view the next video in this series.